come as close as we can, and why don't we give Clifford a little room?
Totally.
Okay? Watch out, guys. Watch out.
Dave, do you want me to carry your microphone for you?
Are you shooting this for who?
She's shooting it for
your own caucus? I don't think I like that idea, just for the record.
Okay, no problem. It's not going to be used.
Well, yeah, right. All right.
What happened? I advised the governor that he's not being real persuasive in the working groups that he's established. So I presume you all know that the governor asked all of us to participate in working groups on the various issues before the legislature, items such as workers' compensation, collective bargaining, others. And my advice to the governor today is that he and his agents are not being persuasive in the working groups.
So where does that leave things?
I believe the governor would tell you that he's going to continue to send people to the working groups.
Will you continue to send people to working groups? Will you be continuing to send people to
We
working
will.
groups?
Are you planning to move your own budget soon?
Our plan is to call an appropriation bill today from the House.
My understanding is that that appropriations bill only appropriates money for the...
I'm going to speak to that at the time of the consideration of the bill.
Did you and the governor talk about it?
I'll talk about that at the time of the consideration of the bill.
You know, these working groups have been meeting on and off for a year now. Do you think, has there been any progress or any bit of persuasion and people say, you know, reasonable minds can agree, there's room to come to some sort of consensus? Why not? Are you the obstructionist?
Really, I'll put that question to Representative Hoffman, who is my designee in the workers' compensation and collective bargaining groups. He can speak to that and he can tell you how he's made progress or whether he hasn't made progress. I would say that the working groups for the participants has raised the level of knowledge on these issues for the participants.
Speaker, anything happen this in this meeting to lead you to believe that Tuesday, anything will be accomplished by next Tuesday?
Well, what I told the governor today is that he and his agents are not being persuasive in his working groups. That was the essence of the meeting. I believe he's going to continue to send people to the working groups.
How long can Illinois operate in this kind of quasi-shutdown?
That's a good question to ask the governor.
It sounds like
The governor, as you know, the governor's in charge of the executive department. You know that. He's responsible for the administration of the executive department, the implementation of programs in the executive department. The legislature provides authority to spend money. So on your question, how is he doing in managing the finances of the state? That's a real good question for the governor.
Speaker, the governor is hoping that your rank and file members will go against you. Do you see that happening? Is there a rebellion brewing? Is that something that you're trying to stop?
I think the governor ought to try to be more persuasive in his working groups. That's what he really ought to focus on. So I went to the meeting today. I advised him that he's not being persuasive in his working groups and that he and his designees ought to become more persuasive. That's what they really ought to focus on.
Can you
I think we're gonna go
elaborate
back
on
to the
that,
floor.
though? Like, how exactly is he not being
we'll have some
persuasive?
information for you later.
Mr. Speaker, have you met Clifford?
No.
Clifford, it's Speaker Madigan. He can't see you.
Oh, how are you? Good. Very good. Good to see you.
You have any questions for the Speaker? You have any questions for the That's not Speaker. Come back to the floor. Leaders?
What was the upshot?
Let me say that my skepticism of last week was warranted. What we heard today was a vigorous defense of the status quo. Madigan is reporting no progress in the working groups, despite the fact that many rank-and-file Democrats say they want progress and they've seen progress. He confirmed that they intend to pass a budget that allows much of the state to be funded by court orders and consent decrees, leading to a budget that will be $7 billion out of balance. You know, my sense is they have absolutely no interest in trying to save the state from going off the deep end. But I'll tell you, every single rank and file Democrat who follows the Speaker is on notice that they are a party to this.
I just believe it's irresponsible to move with these appropriation bills, which we think could come as early as tomorrow until the working groups have completed their work. Now, my impression, based on what our members are telling me, is that there is some progress, and there are things that they can agree upon. And to just dismiss that work by just slapping together these appropriation bills basically goes back on the word and the commitments that we've made over the past month.
Well, you two appear unusually agitated. What was it like in there?
It's the typical game. You know, the Speaker is the Cheshire Cat, doesn't answer questions. In fact, when I said I think we should be the working group, something I've raised before, he said he wasn't even going to respond to that.
When the Speaker conveyed his plans, though, what was the governor's response to the Speaker?
Well, he obviously doesn't agree. He wants a balanced budget and he wants reforms. Nothing has changed with respect to that.
Will the governor sign a budget if it doesn't include turnaround reforms?
Well, we haven't even seen anything. And, you know, I think he's been crystal clear that reform before budget. But, I mean, today was just, again, it was ridiculous. There was, you know, the Speaker has no intention whatsoever in engaging in any real talks.
You know, the days are getting close. We're supposed to finish up business by next week. Every day that goes by where we feel that we're being, stiff-armed is, to me, it's a signal that they're going to go down the same road that they did last year and say, Governor, we don't care, we're going to pass an unbalanced budget, up to you, you figure it out. And that's irresponsible. It's a slap in the face of every Illinoisan, everybody in this building, not the way to go about business.
What was Senator Cullerton's involvement in the meeting today?
I'll defer to look, Senator Cullerton's usually a little more to say than usually when the Speaker. And I think Senator Cullerton does have a interest in trying to bring resolution to this. I'll leave it at that.
But having said that, he's on board for this idea of passing a budget that continues to be funded at a level that we can't afford, and with no discussion whatsoever with reform. We will be looking at downgrades. If they allow this to go through, the Democrats and those that follow that advice are leading the state over the cliff.
Democrat votes, the House has completed its business. Is that what we expect?
We have a meeting scheduled.
I believe this is the second time around, and so hopefully...
That would be 4 votes, counting this vote. Isn't that correct, sir?
Correct.